An egg breakfast like an omelet shouldn't be expensive, and you're paying this much when you go out to a little diner, which is nice and all, but you could have it for this right here. That is but cheaper. So when you're going to go get an omelet, right? Nobody just orders an omelet. You gotta get the whole spread. Omelet, hash browns, toast, maybe some vegetable or fruit or whatever. Maybe a little mimosa. You're at like $20, maybe more. And most of the time it's pretty mediocre. Making an omelet is simple and it's cheap, so you should be doing it at home and making one of the greatest breakfast combos of your life. So let's make this, shall we? Boom. Breakfast sausage, omelet. Bang, that price. Texas toast, bing bang, that price. Potato hash, donkey, that price. Before we get to the omelet, let's talk potato hash. First, peel 3 large russet potatoes, dice it into 1/2-inch cubes, and I say this all the time, please keep your knife cuts even. To a 12-inch nonstick skillet, add 3 tablespoons or 30 grams of vegetable oil, heat that over medium-high, swirl in that there pan. Once that's hot, add in your taters, toss to coat thoroughly in the oil, let that sear for about 5 minutes, flip them as best you can to reveal those crispy. Season to taste with salt, sear another 5 minutes, then reduce the heat to medium, add 1 diced yellow onion, season again with salt, and let those cook and sweat, tossing occasionally until the onions turn translucent and the potato is cooked through, about 4 to 8 more minutes. That's done, and at this point you can season them with a spice mix if desired, or adjust salt levels as needed. Moving on to tomatoes. Quite literally, hot nonstick pan, enough oil to coat the bottom, it's medium-high heat, cut 4 Roma tomatoes in half, dab any excess wetness off of them, and then add all your tomatoes into the pan, cut side down, and sear for 3 to 4 minutes or until flipped to reveal a beautifully lightly charred tomato. Sear the other side for 1 minute, and that's your roasty tomato to accompany your taters. Season them lightly with salt, and we're just taking a light note from the English breakfast. Okay, how do we make this omelet cheap? Not by buying expensive breakfast sausage. And look, Josh, it's not reasonable to have a meat grinder in a butt cheaper, but I really wanted this to be fresh ground. So I found a solution, a knife and a cutting board. It's not that crazy, okay? It takes 6 to 8 minutes of manual labor, but it's easy. You'll need 1 pounder or 450 grams of boneless pork Boston, but slice it into thin slices, and then essentially from there, dice your meat into small pieces. Then with the edge of your knife, whack it over and over and over, being careful here, then fold it over itself, whack it some more, and just keep running your knife through, folding it over itself on occasion until you have a relatively nice ground pork. And you know what's crazy? This might be one of the tastiest ground pork that we've ever made, simply because of the way the fat is dispersed. Pop it into a medium-sized bowl and knead it for a few seconds to get it lightly emulsified, then add 2 teaspoons or 6 grams of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon or 2 grams of cayenne, 1 teaspoon or 2 grams of fennel powder, 1 teaspoon or 2 grams of dried thyme, 2 teaspoons or 10 grams of fine sea salt, mix till combined, and look at that. Breakfast sausage completely by hand. Now get a 12-inch skillet over medium-high heat, lightly grease it if necessary, then spread all of your breakfast sausage across the entire surface, let that sear for 2 to 3 minutes, flip and sear for 1 more minute, then using either a wooden spoon or ideally a potato masher, break that up into pieces as small as you can. Then just let that bad boy cook, stirring often for 3 to 4 minutes, or until cooked through with nice little crispy bits beautifully dispersed. Then add 1 poblano pepper that's optionally been charred completely over an open flame, the char then rubbed off and finely diced. Followed by half a sweet onion thinly sliced, stir together and allow that to sweat together just until the vegetables are softened, about 4 to 5 minutes. Then just keep that covered and warm. You like regular toast? Surely it could be better. Yeah, if it's Papa's Texas toast. Get a loaf of white bread. Ideally, if you can get unsliced, then do that because I prefer mine sliced about 1 inch thick. If your toaster can't handle my thickness, I don't know what to tell you. Before toasting, melt down 3 tablespoons or 42 grams of unsalted butter over medium heat. Once fully melted, cut the heat, add in 2 cloves of finely chopped garlic and 2 tablespoons or 4 grams of very finely chopped parsley. Mix that bad boy together. Now toast your bread on both sides, either in a pan with butter or in a toaster. Then once toasted and hot, brush it generously with your garlic butter. Then slice it in half at a diagonal for maximum efficiency. And that's how you'll serve it. Okay, my children. First, combine 1 cup or 60 grams of fine grated Monterey Jack and 1 cup or 60 grams of fine grated cheddar. Toss together and set to the side. For your eggs, get a medium-sized bowl and crack in 12 whole lovely big boy eggs. Optionally, add a splash of milk, season them to taste with salt, and whisk together until homogenized. Now, heat a 10-inch nonstick skillet over medium heat and add in 1 tablespoon of unsalted butter or vegetable oil to the pan, just enough to coat the bottom. Once that's hot and bubbling, then just pour in a nice ladleful, which is about 3/4 of a cup of your eggs. Let that spread across the pan. Now, as the egg cooks, simply bring in some of the uncooked egg from the edge, push towards the center, and then tilt the pan in the direction of that pole so the eggs fill up that bit that you just exposed. Then repeat that process all the way around the edge of the pan till your eggs are about 90% of the way cooked through. Now working quickly, add a nice handful of cheese to one side, a decent big spoonful of your breakfast sausage mix, maybe a little more cheese, why not? Then once the omelet is just barely stiff enough to fold, well, fold it, don't be shy. Then once that's done, let it sit on one side of your pan to lightly toast the eggs and melt the cheese, then remove it from the heat, grab a plate, hold your pan overhanded like you see here, give it a nice flip, and woo-wee, I'm feeling like I'm out in the country, good lord! To finish this plate, get a nice half piece of your Texas toast, followed by your potato hash, one bruleed tomato, and maybe some extra fine chopped parsley on the potatoes for some color, why not? Now this is an omelet breakfast for only the greatest in the land. Let us taste test. Wow, for this price right here, that's very nice. Got a little extra in your budget? Well, guess what? A beautiful beer mosa. A little bit of beer, a little bit of orange juice, and there you go. It's like a mimosa, but significantly less classy. But it tastes good. Kind of like a shandy. Omelette. A little cheesy. That's where that goes, and that's really good. And you thought you couldn't have ground meat. How about go to work?
Go to work.
With your arm. It's good for you. The omelet's a 10 out of 10. I'm not gonna go any other route than that. It's exactly what I want in an omelet. Get a little bit of toast, Texas toast if you will. Wee bit of omelet on the toast, a little bit of tomato, potato. You guys feel that? This is a perfect omelet breakfast meal for the cheapest price you could ever possibly have, with a little bit of sweat and tears for all your guests will be worth it. But you wanna know what else is worth it? B-roll.